Hello everyone, welcome to another recitation video. In this video we're going to be covering example 7.2 from the notes. In this example we're going to test whether the proportion of patients with osteoarthritis is significantly lower than 50% for a certain clinic. With that said, we can get started by limiting the output using the options command. Then we could start importing our data. As we're well aware of by now, we use the data command to import our data. Then we use input to define our variables. In this case, we have variable x, which is a binary variable, and count, which is obviously the number of patients with osteoarthritis and the number of patients who don't. We use the card statement and then paste in our data. Then close out the data step with a run statement. And then, as you've seen in previous videos, I like to run the data step to make sure that the data is being imported correctly. Everything looks good, so we can continue with the analysis. Next, we use proc freq, and then we specify our data set. Then we use the tables argument and specify our grouping variable, in this case x. Then we use / binomial, and in parentheses specify level equals 1. The binomial argument indicates that we want to use the binomial distribution to test one sample proportions. The level equals 1 informs SAS that success, or in this case, having osteoarthritis, is coded as 1. On the next line, we use weight count to denote that count is the variable containing the number of observations. We can close it off with a run statement, and then we can highlight and run to see the results of the analysis. So taking a look at the SAS output, specifically the binomial proportions table, we see first our p hat, denoted here with just proportion. In this case, it's a value of 19%. The value below that is the asymptotic standard error. This is the value that's calculated with the formula square root p hat times 1 minus p hat over n. In this case, we have a value of 0.0277. Next, we have the confidence interval for our p hat estimate. This information is always useful. Since we're interested in testing whether the proportion of patients with osteoarthritis is significantly lower than 50%, with the confidence interval we can conclude that the proportion is significantly lower because 0.5 is not within the calculated confidence interval. And then lastly, we can see a table below specifically testing the same scenario. In this case, we have a calculated p-value of well below 0.0001. So that concludes our coverage of example 7.2. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.